welcome to my channel. I'm Maria, aka AGAPELOVEGIRL. Thank you so much for joining me today. Now really quick before I get into anything, let me just address the makeup. I do have two different looks on my eyes today. I did this look for another video. Stay tuned. It's a fun video I'm really excited about. But anyways, for today's video, I'm going to be doing the high-end drugstore or indie. I don't know if it's quite a tag or just like a challenge or just whatever. Apparently this was created by Georgia Harris in collaboration with LS. I do subscribe to Georgia Harris. I don't think I'm subscribed to LS. I have not seen her video. I do hope to kind of check it out after this, but I actually first saw this video on Annette's Makeup Corner, her channel. Quite a while ago. I think she did it like a month or so ago, and I thought it was really creative, and remembered that I really wanted to film it. Now, if you have not seen this type of video before, basically the idea behind it is just where your makeup preferences go, like what are your makeup preferences, which category do they go into, and so I have kind of just listed all the makeup products that I use, and you basically just say which one you prefer them from, either high-end, drugstore, or indie brands. And so a really fun, cute idea. So with that explanation, let's go ahead and get into it. The first one I have on the list is primer, and now I don't actually use primer all the time. It's one of those things I just use here and there randomly. But of the ones that I realize that I do use and actually like when I use them, they are definitely high-end. So some of the ones that I actually like and use are the Makeup Forever Step 1 primers, the Hydrating Primer, and the Nourishing Primer. To be specific, I think those ones are great. I like them because they're very much so more like a moisturizer or a face lotion almost, rather than that silicone-y, slippy feel of a primer. And more recently I started trying out the Smashbox Primerizer, again another high-end brand. And then I do have another one that I picked up last year at IMATS from Touch and Soul, which I would consider a high-end brand. I'm not sure if it's actually indie or not, but I'm pretty sure they're available in Sephora, so I kind of consider that a high-end brand. And I really like that one. So it seems all the ones that I have tried that I actually like are high-end, so definitely high-end goes for primer. All right, next up is foundation, and this one, I can't help it. I feel like this has to be a tie. I really don't know if I can choose between drugstore and high-end, because I feel like there's a pretty good balance between my favorite foundations that are from drugstore as well as high-end. So for example, like right now I feel like my very favorite foundation is the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Stick Foundation. I love that foundation. I think it's amazing. I feel like if I had to name a very favorite, that's gonna be it. I've been trying so many foundations lately, and I just think back to that one being my favorite. But I also love, continuing on with high-end, the Lancome Tint Idol foundation, the Too Faced Born This Way foundation, and the It Cosmetics CC creams. Love that. But also there are some really great ones from the drugstore that I do really love as well, like the Maybelline Matte and Poreless, the Wet n Wild Photo Focus, the CoverGirl Vitalist Healthy Elixir. And so I feel like I want to make that a tie between drugstore and high-end. I think if you twisted my arm, I probably would say high-end, but a big part of me is like, I don't know, I just can't let it go. I feel like it has to be a tie, so forgive me, that one's a tie. Now moving on to concealer, this one definitely has to go high-end, because when I think of my favorite concealers, or the ones that I reach for, the ones that I felt like are the best of the best, it's just high-end. I think of Shape Tape, I think of the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer, and so there are some other really great concealers from the drugstore that I love and use, but my preference, I feel like, definitely is high-end. Next category is a setting powder, and of the setting powders that I really like, there is the RCMA No Color Powder, the Cover FX Perfect Setting Powder, and then the Milani Multitasker Powder. Those are among my top 3 favorite, but I think if I had to choose a very favorite, it would be the RCMA No Color Powder, just because you get so much product. It is very affordable. I feel like it just works really, really well. It lasts a long time. I do prefer loose setting powders because I feel like they're just a lot more versatile. I absolutely love my Milani Multitasker powder, but I think it's being discontinued because I cannot find it anymore. That would be the Drugstore. And then I really love the Cover FX Perfect Setting Powder too, but I just think I can go back and forth between using you know, the RCMA powder and that one and be just okay with both results. So I think I'm going to give it to RCMA, which I do believe is an indie brand. So I'm giving this category to indie. By the way, I could be totally wrong in some of these being indie. So if I am, I apologize. Feel free to correct me, but don't be too harsh. I really do think the RCMA must be an indie brand. I don't know if it's really owned by anybody else. I don't know. Okay, let's move on to blush. Blush I'm giving to Drugstore for sure. So while I do love many brands of blushes, when I think about like these a standout blush, I think honestly of the Milani baked blushes. They are just gorgeous. They're very affordable, and they used to be something that was like a staple in like the beauty community on YouTube. I feel like you don't hear about them as much anymore, but they really do have amazing blushes. And I know there's a lot of Drugstore brands that carry great blushes too, so I just got to give it to Drugstore. And next up is bronzer or contour products. And again, this is one that I'm going to be giving to high end. I'm kind of surprised when I sat down and thought about it, like how much I prefer high end. I never thought I'd be a high end girl, but I guess I am. But anyways, I'm giving this to high end because it seems like most of my very favorite contour and bronzer products are high end, like the chocolate the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil bronzer and the It Cosmetics Bye Bye Pores bronzer. I also love the It Cosmetics Sunshine in a Compact bronzer. So yeah, I gotta give it to high end. Now moving on to highlight. This one hands down goes to indie because I know that I personally first fell in love with highlights because of Bitter Lace Beauty, which is an indie brand, and I still think she creates some of the very best highlighters out there. But additionally, NBA Cosmetics creates gorgeous, very stunning highlights. And then other more well-known indie brands that we may not realize are indie, but are indie, are Ofra Cosmetics. I know everybody loves their highlights. And then Gerard Cosmetics actually has some really gorgeous highlights that have been my favorite as well. So yeah, indie goes to highlight, or highlight goes to indie. And next up is setting spray. And again, this is another one that I'm going to give to indie because while I do love the Urban Decay all-nighter setting spray, that is a setting spray that I've used countless times. I've purchased a few times my own. I've been sent it in PR and I always really love it. But if I had to think about which one, if I was like not buying any others, which ones would I buy? And honestly, I would say that I would buy the Ofra Cosmetics one. That is one that I've recommended before. I received it to review once and I haven't repurchased it again just for the fact that I don't need to because I have so many. I'm trying to work through my setting sprays before I buy any new ones. But I really think that one works great. In my opinion, I feel like it works just as good as the Urban Decay all-nighter one. But you get so much. The bottle is huge and it's a very affordable price. So I think it's a really good deal. So I really have to give it to Ofra for that one. And that is an indie brand as well. Secondly, I just want to mention that I can't help but love the Morphe setting spray. It's just beautiful. I love it. Even though it's not a mattifying one, it's more of a dewy setting spray, but I just love it. I love it for really giving me a glowy, natural finish of my makeup, as well as I love it for using with eyeshadows as well. And of course, that's an indie brand. Oh, and then also, sorry, I have my notes. Gerard Cosmetics, their Slail Day Setting Sprays have been a favorite of mine as well. And again, that's another indie brand. So really, I feel like hands down, you probably wouldn't have thought about it, that indie has it for setting sprays, but they really do. But I did want to mention that a close second really would be Drugstore. I really don't think you have to spend a ton of money to have a good setting spray. The Pixie setting sprays are really great. You guys know I love those. And then the Milani setting spray is really great too. It's one of my favorites that I've purchased and repurchased before. So, all right, let's go ahead and move on to eyeshadows. Now, eyeshadows, This one again is another like hands down, no competition. I feel like the Indie has eyeshadows down pat. And I know that there are many amazing indie brands that create gorgeous, stunning eyeshadows, but I really just have to give a shout out to NBA Cosmetics, the company that I work for, because their Silk Effect shadows are truly a hidden gem. And I feel like no one really talks about them. No one really knows about them. I feel like NBA Cosmetics is more well known for their glitter, but honestly, their Silk Effect shadows, please give them a try. Please just trust me. I have a discount code with them. It is an affiliate code. I'm not pushing them just because I have an affiliate code. You guys know I love NBA Cosmetics. I swear to you, you will love their Silk Effect shadows. Those are shadows that the pigmentation is insane. The blendability is insane. You don't have to use your finger with them. You don't need to spray them with setting spray. They are just going to give you bam pigmentation every single time, and I promise you, you will be blown away. So, but there are tons of indie brands that just know how to do eyeshadow right. So Indie hands down for eyeshadows. All right, I've rambled enough. Let's move on to the next category, which I have down as eyeliner. And for this one, I'm going to go ahead and give it to Drugstore because while I do, and you guys see me use them a lot, I do love and use the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencils a lot, as well as the Makeup Forever ones. I get sent them in PR, and I love them. I do think they're great, and I'm going to use them because I have them. But honestly, I don't think you have to spend the money on those high-end eyeliners. Maybe for the fact that you can't probably find as much variety, because they do have a lot more colors available maybe than Drugstore. But aside from that, if you're looking for you know, an eyeliner pencil that is long-lasting, extremely pigmented, wow, and you know, opaque, and just works really great and at an affordable price, you could find them at the Drugstore. Some of my favorites that I wrote down are the Rimmel London Scandaleyes Kohl Eyeliner Pencil. You guys have seen me use that quite a bit on my channel as well. And then additionally, I recently discovered the Pixie Endless Silky Eye Pencils and the Ardell Gel liners, and have been loving those lately. I've been using those so much. The quality, pigmentation, and longevity of all of those eyeliners that I mentioned is incredible. So I totally recommend, and I think Drugstore has it for eyeliner pencils. And then additionally, for liquid liners, I just wrote down that while I would say probably my favorite liquid liner is the IT Cosmetics Superhero Felt Tip Liner, I just love that one. You can still find really great liquid liners from the Drugstore too, because I recently discovered the Milani Stay Matte liquid liner, and while it's different than the Superhero one, I think it's actually really great, and I've really been enjoyed using it. So Drugstore's got this. And then moving on to mascara, again, I'm going to give this to Drugstore because you can get such amazing mascaras at the Drugstore, and while high-end mascaras, it's not that they don't perform, it's not that they're not great, they are great. But I just don't think that you have to spend the money on high-end expensive mascaras when there are some amazing ones at the Drugstore, honestly. And especially as how quickly, you know, you go through mascaras, you're supposed to throw them away every 3 to 6 months. I just feel like just get them from the Drugstore. They're just amazing. All right, brow products is the next category I wrote down, and I need to give this to high end, mostly because my very favorite brow products are from IT Cosmetics, their Brow Power line. Whether it's the pencil, the powder, the pomade, like they have it down for me for brows, and so I gotta give it to them. There are some other great brow products from the Drugstore that I do love and use, but I gotta give it to IT Cosmetics, so high end for that. And then next up is false lashes. And so for the longest time, my very favorite lashes, and I'm sure you guys can say it and type it in a comment before I even tell you what it is, but it is the Pure Cosmetics lashes in the style Bombshell. Those have been my favorite for, I think, over a year now. Maybe a little bit longer. I know I first received them in a BoxyCharm, and ever since then I fell in love, and I've purchased several pair, and those have been my favorite. And then more recently, I've actually been gravitating towards my friend Alicia's lash brand, Vita Cosmetics. I've mentioned her brand and her lashes several times on my channel. I've been using them quite a bit, and I really love them. And so I think, I'm not sure, I could be mistaken, but I kind of think that Pure Cosmetics is an indie brand, so I feel confident in saying that I would give false lashes to indie because of Vita Cosmetics is an indie brand, and maybe I'm wrong, so I don't really know. I tried to ask some friends to see if they knew, but they were kind of on the fence with me too. They weren't sure if they were high-end because you could find them in, I think, Sephora. Wait, where do I, no, Ulta. Ulta, I'm pretty sure, because that's where I order mine from. But another friend of mine was like, well, you can find them in a pharmacy, so maybe they're considered drugstore. And I do also know that like the Pure Cosmetics, their lashes are really, really affordable, and some of their products are kind of more affordable and some of them are more expensive. So I'm like, I don't really know where they are. Are they high-end? Are they drugstore? Are they indie? I'm not quite sure. But either way, I'm just gonna go ahead and give false lashes to indie, because if it's not for Pure Cosmetics, it's definitely for my friend Alicia. I love being able to support a small business, a woman-owned brand, and my friend. So I'm giving the category to indie. Next up is lips, and this one I feel like it was kind of a toss-up, because when I think of my absolute favorite lip products, I think of the Urban Decay Hi-Fi Shine lip glosses, which you guys probably already know because you see me using them, I feel like, the most on my channel. Secondly, it would also be the City Lips lip plumping lip glosses. Love those. I use those a lot on my channel, as well as the City Lips matte liquid lipsticks. And then I haven't used these in a while on my channel, but just when I think of my favorite formulas of lipsticks, I also think of Gerard Cosmetics. Their matte liquid lipsticks are some of my favorites. So comfortable to wear and long lasting. So I really love those, as well as their lip plumping lip gloss is one of my favorites. I actually just finished up my second tube of it. You'll probably see it in my empties video soon. So I think of that. And then I also think of the Pixie Beauty Matte Last Liquid Lipsticks. Those are among my favorite for liquid lipsticks, or matte liquid lipsticks, which you guys know I'm not like super into lipsticks. I don't wear lipstick that much, but because I'm very picky about them, and so when I think of my favorites, those are my favorites. So anyways, that being said, since I kind of break it down, among those, I really only have one for high-end, Urban Decay, one for drugstore, and then the other two, City Beauty and then Gerard Cosmetics, are both indie. As far as I know, I'm pretty sure City Beauty is indie. I don't think they have a parent company or they're owned by anybody else. So I think I gotta give this one to indie. And then lastly, I put brushes and beauty tools. And for this, I gave it to indie as well, because when I think of my favorite beauty tools and like sponges and things like that and brushes, I think of Beauty Junkies, because I love their brushes and I love their sponges. Those are ones that I've received in PR as well as purchased on my own several times. I think of Stilazzi. They have some amazing brushes. You guys see me using their brushes all the time. And then I do like Morphe brushes. I don't use a ton of their brushes. I only have a few here and there that I purchased at IMATS, but I also love their sponge, so there's that. And then I also think of Smith brushes, which I do believe is indie, even though, can you buy them in Sephora? No, I'm not, no, wait, no you can't. I don't know, I'm confused. Anyway, all of those are indie as far as I know, so definitely beauty tools and brushes goes to indie. Alright, before I end this video, I just had to say, like, my husband just got home, so I went out to greet him and say hello and welcome home and all that stuff. I wasn't sure what he would think of my makeup, but he would look at me and he's like, wow, you look so beautiful. And I'm like, really? I do? You think so? I was like, with my looks, my 2 different looks? He's like, yeah, it looks beautiful. So oh, I just had to share. That just made me so happy. Anyways, but that wraps it up for this video and this tag. I think it's a tag. I don't know. I feel so confused on what to call it. But anyways, I hope you guys found it interesting. I had a lot of fun kind of deciphering what my preferences are, high-end, drugstore, or indie. And if I'm calculating it right, I do believe that I land a little bit more, or the most, in indie, but high-end is the right there too. And I never would have thought I was more of a high-end girl. I never would have suspected that I was high-end. So that really surprised me. So it was really interesting to kind of look at these categories and see what my preferences really were. And I would love to hear what your preferences were, if you agree, disagree, and why. So be sure to leave a comment letting me know where you stand for, you know, high-end, indie, or drugstore. Or if you are a YouTuber yourself, I encourage you to do this video. It was a lot of fun. And then don't forget to check out the ladies in the description box to watch their videos too. But anyways, with all that being said, I just want to thank you so much for watching. And until next time, much love and hugs to you. Bye, beauty babes. Mwah!